Hi, everyone. I'm Jillian Johnson. I'm a writer for Military Spouse Magazine, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Miss Kate Reimann. Kate Reimann is the CEO and founder of a company called Rouge Toys, and today we're going to talk to her a little bit about her company. Hi, Kate.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I am so glad to be speaking to you today. First off, I just wanted to say that I really admire the mission of Rouge Toys. I love that you are making toys that are compostable because, like your website says, we see a lot of different beach toys that are made out of plastic, and that's really bad for our oceans. And so you decided to do something about that. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I don't really have a traditional background for a beach toy company owner. In fact, if you asked me, a decade ago, if this is what I would be doing, I would have no idea what you're talking about. I studied Spanish and political science in college. I got my master's in education. I married my husband, who was an F-16 pilot in the Air Force. And then we lived all over. I started writing. I started writing as an outlet for sort of an expression of my emotions during my husband's cancer diagnosis and treatment. And that opened some doors for me when we were stationed at the Pentagon, living outside of DC. I was working sort of as a writer in the political realm, doing ghostwriting for political speeches, op-eds. So I had like a really interesting, engaged sort of a career that really fit where we were. But then we took a vacation to Virginia Beach, and I had a bunch of beach toys that I bought for my kids, and they went out into the ocean, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible, right? I went in and I grabbed them all out of the ocean, but I had this sort of moment when I sat on the shore and I looked around and I was like, what are we doing? Like, there's gotta be a better way. And that's how I arrived at this avenue or this path. It was completely by accident. It was never intentional. I didn't wake up one morning and say, I'm gonna start a company using better material to make better products, right? It was just sort of, I just had this, almost like a calling, like someone's got to do it. I have no business doing it, but if not me, who? So
Right.
That's a long way of getting to the answer of your question. And I also, I also teach spin class, and I love rescue animals. So we do a lot with rescued farm animals here on Oahu. And then we have a bunch of rescue dogs and rescue bunnies. So when I'm not working on the business, that's what I'm doing.
Right. And how long did your husband serve in the military?
He just retired last month. He was in for 24 and a half years. He won't let me say 25. He will not let me round up.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. Well, congratulations. And you guys are settled permanently in Oahu?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. All right. So you did mention that you were at the beach with your husband and your family. So you guys obviously have children,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
2 boys. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about the toys themselves. According to your website, it says they're compostable. Do you make the toys yourself or do you outsource?
So the toys are compostable. They are made of a plant-based resin. So when you go to the store and you buy conventional toys or any kind of conventional plastic product, they are made with petroleum oil, yes, which we know can be detrimental to the health of our oceans and human health, as well as, our surrounding ecosystems. And that's not just the plastic itself, right? On the back end, it's the way that we extract the oil to make the plastic. It's all very dirty. So it was really important to me that when I found a material, it had no petroleum in it, so that we really could say, this is a clean product from start to finish. And there are a lot of companies that are trying to reduce the amount of petroleum, and you can find a lot of different materials that have, partial petroleum and then partial, bamboo or hemp or some kind of fiber infill. And those are also great, but I was really adamant that we needed to find a better material and use that better material to show people there is an alternative, and we don't have to just, accept conventional plastics. So that took a while to find. I ended up finding it after about 2 years, but it wasn't available for injection mold purposes. So to your question about like, how are they made? They're made in a company, manufacturer in Indiana, so in the US, and they're injection molded. But to get to that point, I had to prototype these on my own using the 3D printer. So that was a whole other experience of learning how to 3D print, figuring out how to get the designs from, my CAD program to my 3D printer and how to do it successfully. It took a really long time. So once we successfully prototyped, took them to the beach, showed people, played with them, had kids play with them, then we found the manufacturer, who they're wonderful, actually owned by a former Air Force guy, service member, and yeah, so they're injection molded in Indiana.
That's awesome. See, like I said, I love the fact that these toys are completely compostable, because personally, we bought these toys because we spent 8 years in California.
Yeah.
Okay, and but we were in the desert. Okay, where you were literally 2 hours away from everything, but there was nothing around you. Okay, so pros and cons, obviously. We got to go to the beach often. We were about 2 hours from the beach. And I remember every single time we would go to the beach, we were buying new beach toys because we could never find the old ones, right? And so I feel like a lot of parents would do that, like that are like me. And so your toys seem like a better answer, not just
I think I lost you there.
not made with all the chemicals. Did you get that? Sorry, my internet connection doesn't.
I think I got most of it. Yeah.
Long-winded,
Yeah.
but I think you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was important to me that we created, and I have to back up and say, this is about so much more than beach toys for me. I think that for me, beach toys is proof of concept. It's where, I had that awakening, right? Like, we need to be doing better. It's also so that was in Virginia, but then we were stationed in Hawaii after that. And now we live on the island of Oahu. We're on the windward side on the eastern shore. And from there, we're getting these swells, especially in the winter, we get these swells that carry in a lot of microplastics from the Pacific Gyre. And when you see that, and you see that every plastic purchase we make is contributing to this, it's devastating to walk these beautiful beaches and look down and see microplastics, teeny tiny microplastics, some smaller than we can see, and know that we are still consuming plastic products, right? It's not like this is a thing of the past. This is still happening. And so the beach toys are sort of symbolic of that day at the beach and sort of my aha moment. And they're a proof of concept. Our consumer is going to purchase. Well, you can't hear me? Okay, you let me know when you can hear me again. How about now? Got me? Okay. Where did you stop hearing?
I think you were at the point where you were talking about it's not just about, like, you were talking about seeing little tiny microplastics.
Yeah. So we are still contributing to the problem. It's not over. It's not something we've solved yet. And so the beach toys for me they're symbolic of my aha moment. They are proof of concept, and they're used at the beach where we interface with the ocean, where we are seeing the problem washing ashore. And really the goal is to prove that consumers are ready for an alternative. They want an alternative. Yes, they will pay a little more for this product, but because they know there is value behind it and there's a greater mission.
Right. Right. And honestly, I'll tell you, about a year ago, we gave up water bottles. That was our first step. We are currently in the giving up single-use plastic. When Craig gave me this assignment, I was like, yes. So, so when did you actually start Rogue Wave Toys? Like, when did the company officially do its Kickstart campaign?
So I came up with the idea in the summer of 2016, and I think I officially registered in the summer of 2017, so about a year later. So that first year, it was like talking to people, how would I do this? What material would I use? Just a lot of sort of pounding the pavement and trying to figure out, like, how do you start a company? How do you start a toy company? How do you prototype? What material do you use? Then I founded the company in 2017, officially registered as a business, started the Kickstarter campaign. Gosh, I think that was 2019. So it was about 2 years of prototyping, 3D printing to make sure that the design was valid. We actually had to redesign the sifter because through the prototyping, we found that the handles were too weak. We needed a better design. So the Kickstarter was after all of that in 2019, and it was a huge failure. Not for lack of interest, but because I had an enormous number to hit. And hindsight's 2020. We could have done it a lot differently and I think been successful. But I learned so much in that experience, and it got me a lot of visibility for the business. So I don't regret it at all. I think it was hard emotionally, but it was the right thing to do at the time.
So one of the things I wanted to highlight in your journey was your successes and your possible failures. So just so that other military spouse entrepreneurs, should they decide to start a business, can possibly learn from you. So what are the things that you learned during the process, especially in the Kickstarter process?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. What were the things that I learned in the Kickstarter process?
Yeah, what did you learn from the Kickstarter process, like through that failure?
Oof. Well, I learned that I'm not good at failing. It was really tough. It was really hard. I learned that I really wanted this to work, because you get to the end and you don't have the money to fulfill the goal. And so you have a choice to make, right? You either figure out a way to make it happen or you throw in the towel. And so that was a sort of another defining moment for me. Like, okay, this didn't work. Am I going to dig in and try to find other sources of funding? And I did. I took about a week where I kind of sat and licked my wounds. And then it was like, okay, well, how else can I do this? And it was then that I met my business advisor through the Veterans Business Outreach Centers, through VBOC, which is a resource that's available to all military and military spouses. And he's still a wonderful advisor to me. And he was so instrumental in getting me to move forward after not getting the funding through the Kickstarter campaign. And he actually brought down what I needed to get started by hundreds of thousands of dollars, and helped me move along the path to secure a loan, so that we could really get this going. So without that service, I really don't know where I would be now. I mean, that was crucial. The timing was crucial, and his guidance was crucial. So that was a huge win out of an otherwise very bleak situation for me.
I am so glad it worked out, because honestly, I can see this going places, especially in the world that we live in now, where people are becoming more conscious of the climate and more conscious of what we're doing to harm the planet. And, especially after seeing all these super hurricanes and all these forest fires, we have to recognize that we are the problem and what we're doing is the problem, and we need to solve it. And so this is exciting. So I saw on the website that the toys are pre-order right now. Is that it? Okay. So if a mom or a dad wanted to order toys, do they just do the pre-order link, or how would they do it?
Yep, they just go to the website, they place their order, and then once we get our first run, we will fulfill those pre-orders. We have, just like everyone, we've been affected by COVID. So if we go back to the timeline, that was fall of 2019 was the Kickstarter. I started developing all my financials and everything I would need for my loan after meeting my VBOC advisor in November, December, applied for loans January, February, got my loan approved in March of 2020. So I got my loan approved just in time for everything to close down and then open and then close and then open and then close. And then as you pointed out, we had a bunch of hurricanes in the South, which affected some portions of my business. So there were more delays. I mean, it's really been, everybody knows at this point that small businesses have been incredibly affected by COVID, but I mean, and we're still seeing the repercussions from that. So just to speak to our consumers though, I mean, we have consumers are people who have been waiting for pre-orders since then. I mean, since March of 2020, even before we had a few orders before that. So the when I have bad days at the business, and when you're a business owner, you have a lot of bad days. I remember that list of pre-orders that we have. I mean, people have been waiting for a long time, and it's not because it's a beach toy. It's because it's a better product with better material and they want an alternative. So that's what keeps me going.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I heard all the way up to you have a lot of bad days, and then
let's see if I can remember what I said. The thing that keeps me going when I have these numerous bad days is this group of pre-orders, you know, that just keeps coming. I mean, people just keep pre-ordering, but we've had these pre-orders since March of 2020, even before we've had pre-orders, and they're not waiting because they just need a beach toy. They're waiting because they want a better beach toy, because they want a better product, because they want to support a company that's trying to do it better, right? Create a product that has a better end of life outcome. So that's what keeps me going, and it's good to keep that top of mind, because even today, you know, there are setbacks.
Absolutely. So I wanted to go into a little bit more of your journey up to this point. I did see that you did mention that your husband's cancer diagnosis, and he was an F-16 pilot. So I guess what I want to ask is, you know, and you said to yourself, you didn't see yourself becoming a beach toy owner, but did any of that have an impact on your decision to start this business?
I think that, you know, everything that I've experienced and that we've experienced as a family has, you know, in one way or another shaped the decision. I think that creating a legacy has become even more important to me. My husband's cancer diagnosis, and now my mom in the ICU with COVID, is a reminder that life, you know, tomorrow is not promised, right? And you really have to take full advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. And, you know, I think that what drives this journey for me is really my belief in the idea that we can do better, you know, and knowing that we can do better for me means we should be doing better, particularly for my children, your children. You know, we need to, you know, on my worst days, I feel like maybe we're a little too late, but on my better days, I feel like the people that are supporting this business and this mission are the ones who are going to get us through and help us, you know, help us discover the solutions and help us push those solutions forward so that they're not just an alternative, they become the norm. Because really that's what we need to do. We need to, I think you mentioned it earlier in the interview, we really need to make some big changes, and it's up to us. My husband's cancer diagnosis was brutal. It was absolutely brutal, but he was never deterred by that. And I think, you know, maybe on a subconscious level, he sort of inspired this journey of mine because he was facing an uphill battle and he just took it one step at a time, you know? So
Yeah.
I'll never be as strong or as optimistic as my husband because he is just a gem. There's no one like him. But he's a good person to look to as inspiration for tough journeys, right? Whether it's owning a business or dealing with family trauma or, you know, personal loss or whatever, you know, I mean, it's good to have that inspiration. So I would say, yeah, my kids and my husband have definitely shaped this entrepreneurship journey.
I love that. I actually did get a chance to take a look at your blog, the ecstasy.com. No, I want to say, like, the way that you told the stories, it was like reading a book. And it was like your husband and the light that you painted him in. And like you said, one day at a time, and he found the good in, you know, in this horrible situation. He managed to find the good and took it one step. And so now here you are as an entrepreneur doing the same things. I mean, with your Kickstarter failing, you took the good and you ran. Something really good came out of this. And you know what? It's a lot to be proud of. You've done amazing things already.
Thank you so much. It's a lot to hear. And it's a really nice reminder because I'm pretty hard on myself. So thank you for saying that. That's nice to hear.
I totally get it. I'm very hard on myself too. I think we all are. And I think that we need to give each other grace, especially in this climate. So I want you to know that I personally admire what you're doing. It's not just from a professional standpoint that I'm here. I agreed to this because I absolutely adore your mission. So on the website too, it says not only about beach toys, but you can help other people who have innovative opportunities for other items that are created to be compostable, renewable. Tell me a little bit about that. Has anybody submitted anything?
A lot of people have reached out to us. The problem right now is just this supply chain big juggernaut that we have. So once we get that smoothed out, yes, the plan is to provide people who want it, whether, you know, businesses or otherwise, with this. Oh, okay. You tell me when you can hear me, okay? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I can.
Okay.
So you said something about at the end of it, the last thing I heard was supply chain and then nothing.
Yeah. So we have had companies reach out, individuals reach out, but because of the supply chain issue, we're having trouble just getting our own material to our manufacturer. So once we can smooth this out, yes, the plan is, and the purpose of the business really is to provide this material to whoever needs it, create an economy of scale, right? So that more people, more businesses have access, which means we're going to drive the price of it down so that we can be more price competitive with virgin plastics. And just, yes, like I would love to flood the market with this better material so that we, as consumers, feel like we really do have a choice, because I do think that once consumers are voting with their dollar, companies are going to listen. And I also think that's two-sided. It is on the consumer, but it is also on businesses, and particularly, and it's not fair, but particularly businesses that are starting now, right? I mean, we have to be aware of what is our carbon footprint, where do these products go at the end of their life, what are they made of, are they made ethically? Unfortunately, big business has gotten away with not dealing with that for a really long time, but I do believe that business owners now have to take as much initiative as the consumer in creating these better opportunities and products for consumers.
Yeah, and we definitely need to hold them accountable with our dollar. I agree. And that's why, I've made a lot of changes recently in what I buy. So I totally understand. I'm on your level. So before we go, I just wanted to ask, there's a lot of military spouses out there who are looking for ways to supplement their income and potentially start their own business because, you know, employment's hard, especially when we move a lot. So what is one piece of advice that you would give to a military spouse looking to start her own business, company, whatever have you?
I would say find your local VBOC, which is affiliated with the SBA. The veteran,
yeah,
the veterans. What is it now? I just lost the acronym, but Veterans Business Outreach Center. Sorry.
Got it. Okay, VBOC.
Yeah. It's completely free. It is designed for military and military spouses. They have tons of great advice. They can get you whatever you need, really. Any question, there's no question too stupid. Trust me, I've asked them all to my advisor. I would say find the resources that are available to you as a military spouse and go after those. I mean, take advantage of these free resources that are at your disposal. It's not just VBOC, there are many others. I would also say, I didn't mention this, but I participated in a few pitch competitions and I won a pitch competition with Street Shares Foundation, which does a lot of work with the veteran community and with the military spouse community. So if you are concerned about funding, there are plenty of places that are trying to support military spouses and veterans. So I would, Google is your friend, the SBA is your friend, VBOC is your friend, talk to your military spouse community. There are Facebook groups for military spouse entrepreneurs. There are all kinds of nonprofits that are just for military spouses looking to start their own businesses. So just get out there, ask all the questions that you have. Don't be shy. There is no stupid question, and go after it. I would really say go after it. Find your community of support and then go get it.
Got it. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
But thank you again. You have yourself a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.